They are the first generation immigrant. And I think that's a very positive thing. I do not think negative, because they are now still have very close connections with their native lands and understanding of those cultures and mindsets. They should be used. That's why I'm raising this voice, that this group of people are very potential and very a catalyst of our time. If they can be used and if they can be empowered, a very effective leadership can emerge from this group that can bring about dissolve this confrontational state that we are experiencing right now and working to a better understanding.
What do you think?
Matt,
Yes.
I would like to add a solution for your question. Actually, we talked about United States. 200 years ago, United States, there wasn't a United States. There were like over 50 states, independent states from different countries from all over the world. They had different languages, different beliefs, different cultures. There were many nations, and then they become one, only one. The one means power. When you can become one, no matter how different you are.
I think
Yes.
I want to make you one point. She has brought up an extremely important point about the Muslim world. That is integration. Integration does not mean dissolving your own values, lifestyle, or anything. It's integration on the basis of most fundamental commonality, that is equality or freedom and dignity that each and every human being wants and need. And on the basis of that, the integration, this country has become a superpower. This is my understanding, that this nation has become so powerful and so successful because it is providing that program of integration. So the people are coming here feeling safe and contributing, going for their own potential when they are actually contributing to national potential. And the nation is then becoming very successful, materialistically and otherwise. But I think what she is saying is that Muslim world is disintegrating, or at least in the verge of disintegration, fighting with each other. We are 1/5 of humanity, but we are not a voice in the world. We are not a power broker. In any of the big meetings, we are not, no leadership from Muslim countries are invited. Why? We have control 76% of the oil reserves.
Do you see anything wrong with it, or it's a positive
No,
aspect?
it's an extremely positive thing, but what I'm saying is
So
that
what
the shame is that, the sadness and unfortunate thing is that we are so fragmented and that we are powerless, and we even with this kind of resources at our disposal, we have failed to bring a leadership in the world.
American Muslims find themselves at the crossroads of a really amazing opportunity, because first, the American Muslim community in the United States isn't beset by some of the huge societal problems that exist in much of the Middle East or Pakistan or Afghanistan. Like there isn't as much of that just dire heart-wrenching poverty that exists there. And on top of this, there also aren't large popular movements of extremism that pervert the original intentions of Islam in America. While there may be a few crazy people who go to a mosque, there are not large organized terrorist sectors like there certainly are in places like Pakistan or Saudi Arabia or other places. But so American Muslims, first of all, live in an area where they can take back Islam for what it really is, a religion of peace. Secondly, even though America, like Adit was saying, America isn't perfect. It does things that are very undemocratic and wholly at odds with the original values of the Constitution. But at the same time, it's better than most of them. It's better than Saudi Arabia. It's better than, the lawlessness in many Southeast Asian nations. So American Muslims would have a genuine opportunity to affect positive change and get their voice heard without getting seriously persecuted or getting just shipped off to prison like many people do in, like many democratic dissidents do in places such as Turkey, for example. And also, for American Muslims to do this, this is a really vital concern right now. Why would it be very vital? First of all, due to the antagonism in certain superpower groups and elite groups amongst different countries, we're in a West-East conflict. America looks at Iran as this evil, mysterious, foreign axis of evil. Iran looks at America as the decadent, pornographic West, which is wrong, which is also wholly wrong. And we also, once peak oil sets in and oil reserves deplete themselves to the point of complete scarcity, we're going to start witnessing humongous disintegration within the Muslim world. For some of their main economic sources of sustenance come from these enormous oil reserves. So unless we take back Islam as a religion of peace and talk about it as a democratic movement for social justice and for stabilization of a community over peace, we will, if we don't do this, we're going to lose out to the other extremist factions who will take over once major problems occur in the Middle East.
Do you think that there is so much injustice against Muslims, therefore you are initiating this organization?
No, of course there are injustices and there are wrong things done to the Muslims and many Muslim countries and nations because, for example, Mossadegh was ousted in 1953 in Iran. He was a democratically elected prime minister, and America is a democratic country, but America was involved and in ousting a blooming democracy that could have helped entire Muslim world to be democratic in last 50 years, but it was destroyed. And so that kind of thing, there are a lot of things happened. Also sustaining Shah of Iran for 25 years. It is an example for the Muslim world how unfair and unjust America could be. So there are things like that, but what I'm saying is that let's not lose our spirit of hope and positive things that we have. Let's not destroy with some of the poisons, some of the things that happen. Let's also think the positive side. This country also has engaged with Russia through detente and won Cold War through that. It's a positive, constructive engagement. It was not proxy wars through which it won. Again, it brought China into the outside world and made it a vital partner in the world and make the world a better place, and China also a very responsible country, a very productive country. This country, if engages, America can change a lot of things. And I'm saying it has not done much, and it has not done constructively as it could do for the Muslim world. It is also a vital part of humanity.
Thank you. There are many nations, many groups that they feel or they think or they believe that the system West hasn't been fair with them. Let's say Vietnamese. Why Muslims always come to the picture and they say things are not being fair to us? Is it part of your belief?
No.
That you think that you have to fight against injustice?
No.
You have to fight against aggression?
No,
Maybe I asked you. So.
Yeah, I want to. The example is not with Shah alone. I want really. This is very important. While I am very happy to be in the United States, I found myself lucky. I will not go to any so-called Muslim country. They are not Muslim countries because it is ruled by authoritarian regime. Almost all of them, exception of Turkey. Turkey is just like shaky. But when I went there, I was arrested. I had to come back. But it is much better than the rest. But the United States obviously provides a wonderful living with dignity and peace and with freedom in this country. However, dealing with the Middle East or other countries, it is really double standard that, and it is really in long term, it has not been in the self-interest of the United States. Putting puppet regimes, dictators, supporting them, maybe serve the oil industry, maybe some weapon merchants, but ultimately it created more enemies, and our efforts and energy, money is wasted to the wrong direction. Now the world has become smaller, our interest is much more interrelated, and much more what goes around comes around faster right now. What we are doing, for example, Egypt is a dictator, run by a dictator and supported by us, by my tax money. Saudi kings, they are dictators. They are breeding very angry generation people. Most of the terrorists came from there. And we are supporting. We don't need to go invade that country, war, and shed blood. Just take your support away, maybe something better will happen. There are a lot of people who want democracy there. And the same with many other countries. Therefore, first we need to change this. What is the interest of the United States in? The interest is not go invading the country, shedding the blood, serving the interests of the few. And I myself don't find myself victim. I'm not talking because I feel. I am not one single time interrogated. I am not interrogated by American police. And this is a wonderful thing to be in this country. But what I feel, this justice, this beautiful system is misrepresented outside and generates a lot of hatred towards us, towards Americans, and I feel myself split. I feel wonderful, happy to be here in this country, while I see there is a misinformation, distortion of the facts, and the children of the poor people in America sent to kill the children of the poor people in other countries to make profit to some people behind the scenes. And this administration, I believe, Americans, when they saw it, majority of Americans, thank God, they saw it, they elected this government, and I hope this government will listen to this voice of people, hopefully, but still, I'm a little bit skeptic about that. I think that vested interests that live on blood of people, on confrontation, they will still try to continue this sort of process. But we have to do whatever we can do to inform ourselves, our people, and the world population, American, and try to be a catalyst for peace. Yes.
But don't you think that through dialogue and diplomacy, we can really change, and we can make a change there? And in this society, if we can create a national presence with any issue, through any issue, important issue that this nation is concerned, like terrorism and security and all this nation is concerned about that. And we are concerned as Muslims. We are concerned about a better relationship between the Muslim world and America, so that both benefits, the interest and welfare of both depends on each other. There could be a negative rhetorical relationship right now, but they are indispensable to each other's welfare and interest. So don't you think that if we engage ourselves on that front, we can have a common movement, even though in spite of all our differences? Don't you think these are common interests?
At the same time that you're saying that we should have a common ground to bring all these Muslims together,
right?
Professor Yüksel says all these Muslim countries are corrupt and dictators. I mean, once they hear this statement from you, how are they going to come to the point that they should have a common ground?
This life is not perfect, and there is nothing perfect about it, but we can work through the problems we are facing today, and we can bring a positive movement out of this and can help change it. I'm a believer of bringing it from a positive side.
How about those Muslims in Middle East or some other part of the world, in Pakistan? They live in pure poverty, or some other part of the world. And their leaders find the West as the major problem for what they are going through, because they corrupt the system, their leadership, and they pull their resources out. And you want to tell these people that come and peace and in harmony with the one who brought all this.
I will give you a glaring example. China in 60s went through a very repressive, extremely repressive administration regime of communist administration. And people, hundreds and thousands of people were killed. That China today is the most productive country in the world. It is double-digit GDP growth, unmatched with any other country. If that country
With
can...
all respect, Chinese, they had no choice. If they spoke one word, they were killed under dictatorship. Palestine it's a pure example of this issue. These people are being condemned and they're being harassed, they're being killed,
Yes.
and lands are being taken for 60 years almost. And they don't sit quiet. Still, they don't have no arms, but they throw rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Is this part of the religion, the fight against aggression, or is just in culture of some Muslim people?
No, no. If there is oppression and injustice to any people, not only Muslims, Muslims have right and responsibility to fight against that.
So,
Whatever way they can. The last resort is violence. Last resort is conducting war. But that is the last resort, fighting against injustice and oppression, massive oppression. But I'm saying that in our time is offering a better tool, a better environment to work with a better agenda, of positive agenda, and you can change. We don't have to go to war to change things in human affairs. We can engage constructively, and the mindset of the humanity has changed so much, and technology and capacity of human capability has brought us to a point that we can engage constructively and change profoundly, and we should use that path.
right, thank you.
Well, there's plenty of social movements towards peace and justice and some democracy that have succeeded throughout history. For example, America got rid of slavery. Gandhi got the British out of India through a non-violent movement, and plenty of other examples. We could use the example of Muhammad.
Solidarity movement
The
in
solidarity
Poland,
movement,
in Poland.
which was able to, remove the specter of evil that existed over there, and
in Chile.
In Chile, yeah, or look
In
at
South Africa also.
South Africa and apartheid, and a lot of South American countries now, a lot of their presidents are actually literally coming from the poor working classes of society.
Right.
And though socialism, that's a more complicated issue, but once again, there are plenty of examples in which democratic movements that are enduring and are willing to suffer through troubles, they can and will succeed. Including, the Prophet Muhammad as well, who was able to basically organize Bedouin warring tribal societies. I always use the analogy of the Crips and the Bloods to refer to them. Basically, that's what it was back in the Bedouin era. And he was able to unify them into one of the biggest empires that has ever existed in humanity in the matter of a few short years. So yes, democratic movements for justice can succeed in immense amounts if people just endure and suffer through troubles.
Thank you for all. It was very interesting to hear about your views, and we're coming to top of our hour. Thank you so much for viewing.
For additional information about this group's mission statement and the content of their letter to President Obama, visit www.mpjp.org.